Hey, what's up, guys? This is Benji Bruce here, and this time we're going to talk about basically building your speaking business on a budget or with very little money. Now, I mean, almost every speaker, they want to get more speaking engagements, but most speakers, they have a huge problem, and the problem is that maybe you just can't afford to spend a ton of money on marketing. So maybe you just don't have a lot of money in your bank account left over, like after you've done things, and you don't have money to hire someone or to pay for a lot of marketing stuff. So how do you actually build your speaking business on a budget with little or no money? Now, I remember when I was starting, I didn't have any money really to do anything. And that's not the worst part that actually happened. The worst part is when you know what you should be doing and you have it all in your head, but you just can't do it because you don't have the funds to get it done. So I would listen to all these big time marketing gurus talk about productivity and marketing stuff and how you need to hire someone to do things like the house cleaning, the cooking, all these activities, and that basically pretty much suck up your time but actually don't produce results. So I'd hear all this and it sounds great in theory, but I didn't actually have the money to do it at the time. And I knew that I needed a great website and maybe a great demo video, but I didn't have the money to actually hire an expert to do all that stuff. So I couldn't afford to pay someone a couple grand to actually build a website. And I basically couldn't afford to pay an expert to actually build a great demo video. So I knew that I needed this stuff, but I had very little money to actually spend on getting it. So when you're in that position, it really sucks because you know what to do, you just can't afford to do it. So it's like knowing the cure to cancer, but you're stuck on an island and you just can't tell anyone. So, I mean, it really sucks. So I'm basically going to tell you how I was able to get around it and how you can build your speaking business on a budget or with pretty much no money whatsoever. Now, the first thing you have to realize is that your budget isn't as big of a problem as you think it is. I mean, yes, your budget does hold you back from doing things faster, but it doesn't hold you back from getting things done. So if you can pay someone $3 grand to make a great website for you, then of course they'll do it a lot faster, but that's just because it's their area of expertise. But what happens if you can't afford it? I mean, let me ask you this. I mean, what do you think you should do if you can't afford? Let's say you know you need a new website, you can't afford to pay someone $3 grand or however much it's going to be. You just can't afford it. What do you think you should do? I mean, you know you need the stuff, so what do you think you should do? Your only option is to make the website yourself. Now, of course, you might not know how to do it. I mean, you don't know about web design, none of that stuff, but neither did the best web designers when they started out. They didn't know how to do any of that stuff. It's not like you're born knowing how to do it. Knowing how to design a website, it's not just innate. So it's something that someone learns. So if you don't have a great website and you can't afford to hire someone, then the only option is you have to learn it yourself and you have to make your website as best as it possibly can be at this very second. And that's what separates the speakers who build their speaking business from the ones who just think about it. The ones who really build their speaking business, they basically do whatever it takes. If they need something and they don't know how to do it, then they just suck it up and they learn it. But the ones who don't build a speaking business, those are the speakers who do everything except the things that actually make them money. The difference is that the real speaker says, you know what, I don't know how to build a website, but I'm going to figure this thing out. And the wannabe speaker, he basically says, you know what, I don't really know how to build a website, and man, this sucks. So there's a huge difference. Now, I'm just using a website as an example, but there are tons of things that you'll need to learn how to do, and you'll need to do it yourself if you don't have the money to hire someone for your speaking business. If you want to build your speaking business on a budget, then you have to combine that with skill and intensity. And by skill, I mean that if you don't know something, then you shouldn't be afraid to learn it. And the way you're going to know you're learning something is when you're actually uncomfortable doing it. So if you don't know how to do Google AdWords and you go into it right now, like you've never done it before, and you go into Google AdWords right now, then you're going to you're going to feel pretty uncomfortable. It's going to be, you're going to have no idea what you're doing. There's going to be a ton of things that you won't know how to do. You're going to get frustrated because you don't know what's what things mean, all that stuff. You're basically going to get pissed off because it's going to take so long just to even get it started, let alone actually put some money in it. And then you're going to realize, oh man, this thing is getting really hard. And that's where you find out how serious you are about building your speaking business. That's the moment where you can either just stop and you say like, damn, I have no idea what the heck I'm doing. And you can literally just go on, you can complain about why you're not getting speaking gigs. You can do that. Or that's the moment where you can literally just keep pushing through despite how hard it is. Now, when you're learning any skill, you're basically going to suck at the beginning. I mean, it always sucks at the beginning whenever you're learning any skill. And then it all boils down to intensity. One speaker, he actually asked me how I was able to build my speaking business so fast because I'm very young. And I asked him, I said, well, do you believe in a work-life balance? Like, do you think that you should be working, but you should also like go out and have fun, that sort of stuff, the work-life balance? And he said, yeah, of course I believe in it. And I said, well, I actually don't. I said, that's why I'm able to build my business so fast at a young age, because I don't believe in work-life balance. The reason I was able to build my speaking business is because I didn't go out to lunches with random people. I didn't go out clubbing. I didn't watch TV. I literally didn't hang out at useless networking events. I built my speaking business because I figured out what the top 1 or 2 things were that I needed to get done. And I literally did that nonstop. It was intense. I just woke up, got to work, went to sleep, woke up, got to work, went to sleep. All I did was literally wake up, hit the gym, eat some food, work, eat some food, work, eat some food, work, go to sleep. That's literally all I did. And even with the food, I even started doing the food a little different because I realized I was taking up too much time. So actually, I started getting foods that would take up very little time. So I even got like tilapia. I was eating a lot of tilapia, so I could just throw a ton of it in the oven from the very beginning. And I'd basically make several at a time, and then I'd have all my meals for the entire day. If you want to build your speaking business on a budget, then you have to basically prepare yourself mentally because the information that you need is already out there. I mean, how do you get speaking gigs? That's the number one question that all speakers have. And I can tell you that the answer to that question is right on the Speaking Lifestyle blog. How do you get speaking gigs? It's right there on the blog. And the more detailed answers are in the platform program and in the Speaking Lifestyle Internet course that really walks you through it step by step. But the information on building a speaking business on a budget, it's already out there. But here's the thing. I can guarantee you that most speakers will still be asking themselves that question a week from today. Most speakers, they've been asking themselves that question since the day they started their speaking business. And the reason is because it's not about a lack of information. It's a lack of determination. When someone asks me how to get speaking gigs and they send me an email and they say, hey, Benji, how do you get speaking gigs? I basically ask them like, well, did you read all the blog posts on the Speaking Lifestyle blog? And nobody, not a single person who has asked me that question on how to get speaking gigs has read every single blog post. And to me, that's just crazy. I mean, the information that they need is right there, just right there in front of them. It's for free in the blog, but they're still searching. They're still scratching their heads for what to do. It's all about the intensity that you have. I mean, how serious are you about growing your speaking business? And don't just answer that question. I mean, don't just say, oh, I'm serious. You want to look at what you're doing. If you say that you're serious, but then you go check your email, you hang out on Facebook, you go watch TV and all that stuff, then you're not really serious. But if you go out and you go read every single blog post, you study what other speakers are doing, you contact event planners, well, that shows how serious you are. But enough of my rant there. Let's get into some detail about growing your speaking business on a budget. First thing that I would do if I had to start all over, I would basically actually get a ton of materials for my website and a demo video that I would be making. So how would I actually do that? How would I get materials when I don't have any? Well, I would actually contact any place that I could think of where my presentation would be useful. So whether it's meetup groups, colleges, whatever it is, I would sit down and I would contact them all day, every day until I got a few. I mean, just by doing that alone, I would get a couple of gigs. Then I would actually record it and I would bring someone along with me to take pictures, things like that. If someone couldn't come, then I would just record it. Then I would actually get video testimonials, and I get video testimonials from as many people as possible who actually saw the presentation. And just from one presentation, I'd be able to get at least 10 pieces of footage. One would be of me actually speaking, and the rest would be video testimonials. It'd probably be more than just 10 because I grab as many testimonials as possible. And I would then use this to actually build a website, a WordPress website, because the themes for WordPress, they make your website look really professional, and it's very easy to build and edit. And I would literally figure, if I didn't know how to build a WordPress website, I would figure out how, and I would build the website to make it look as good as possible for right now. It won't look great, especially when you don't know how to do it at the beginning. It won't look great, but it would look as good as possible just because you would work as hard as you could to make it look really good to begin with. Then I would repeat the process until I had a ton of footage and pictures for the website. Now, I want you to notice something. I want you to notice that I didn't say I would start a social media campaign and I'd post on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. I didn't say any of that stuff. What people don't realize is that you have to what they don't realize is that you really have to build your speaking business on a budget, and when you're doing that, you have to really focus. I mean, there are tons of speakers who don't have money to spend on marketing, and the way to compensate for that weakness with you don't have money, the way to compensate for it is through an intense focus of your time. So starting a social media campaign, it's really stupid when you're starting out because you don't have stages to speak on in the first place. So you don't have anything to really post about. You need footage and pictures and all that stuff for your website. You need videos, all that stuff. So what would you do on social media? There's nothing you can do on social media that would actually get you those gigs. So speakers, they think that they get hired for their content. So they're like, oh, let me post my content on social media, things like that. But in reality, people who hire speakers, they want to see video footage of you already on stage. They want to know that you're a great speaker, because a lot of people know that just because you can write good, it doesn't mean you can speak good. So think about all the content that's out there. I mean, whatever your topic is, someone else is talking about it. Whether you're talking about personal development, leadership, whatever, someone else is already talking about it. There are millions of people talking about it, millions of people talking about personal development, and they probably have great content, but 99% of them, they're not getting on stages. If all you do is focus on your content, then you won't get on stages. That's why, like in the beginning, the only thing that I would focus on is contacting events that would need a speaker in my area of expertise. And of course, you'll have to do it for free in the very beginning, but the purpose isn't about getting paid. The purpose is about getting footage and a ton of social proof. It's all about getting stuff for your website. Once you have the website and everything, now you can start doing the internet marketing stuff. But if you're not speaking on stages right now and you don't have a ton of money for marketing, then your only option is to have this insane level of focus. And that focus should be directed towards contacting events and nothing else, absolutely nothing else. I literally can't stress this enough. Speakers think that their problem is a lack of information, when in reality, it really is a lack of determination. If you want to build your speaking business on a budget, then you have to take a really good look at what you're doing throughout your day. And I mean, really ask yourself, are you contacting events, or are you doing everything else except contacting events? You can build your speaking business with little to no money, but you really have to be willing to do whatever it takes.